All right, welcome everyone to the Go to Moby Personalized Programmatic Mobile Advertising webinar. We're really excited to have everyone here. Looks like we have tons of attendees. We've got some really cool content to cover in today's webinar, and we really want to thank everyone for joining us. So without further ado, we'll kind of jump into a little bit about Go to Moby, and then we'll talk about the agenda for the webinar, and we'll hopefully include a walkthrough of the platform and a little bit more information on a couple cool new features that we built out to make your performance campaigns work even better. So for those of you that don't know Go to Moby, we are a strictly mobile DSP and performance ad network. We've been working with a lot of the performance marketing industry's sort of leading affiliates and traffic sources and direct advertisers and tons of different users on our platform over the last 3 years. We have integrations with almost 1 million different publishers through our almost 24 exchange integrations, and I'll go into a little bit more detail about what the different mobile exchanges are in a few minutes. But basically we have tons of mobile traffic. We have display, we have video, we support rich media, we've got native, tons of different cool formats to help you run your different mobile performance campaigns. And we're really excited today to present this webinar in partnership with Stack That Money, which many of you are members of. It's an awesome sort of affiliate marketing community and forum. They offer a ton of resources to help everyone from sort of beginners just looking to get their feet wet in the performance marketing space to sort of seasoned affiliates and partners looking to make connections with other experienced members of the affiliate marketing community. So we've kind of worked closely with them for a while. We've presented at a couple of their events and past contests and different initiatives through the forum, and we're really proud to work closely with them, and in particular with their Affiliate Mastery Challenge, which has seen several hundred different performance affiliates, some newbies, some really experienced guys come through our platform and test out a variety of different traffic sources and offers and creative types. And ultimately, we're really proud to have been a part of the success that a lot of the participants have seen. And we're still working with a lot of the people that have come through the course. So we strongly encourage everyone that isn't already a member of Stack That Money to check out the forum. Check out their events, check out the Affiliate Mastery Challenge if that sounds appealing to you, and just get involved. And essentially what we're here today to talk about is ways to help you save time and earn more money through performance marketing using Go to Moby, and hopefully those of you that are in the course will see success. So as we sort of promoted earlier on when we sent out some mailouts, we've got a great prize for those of you that stick with us until the end of this webinar. It'll probably be about 20 or 30 minutes, so we really hope that everyone joins us. But basically, we're going to be randomly drawing participant from the list of attendees to win 2 tickets to the Stack That Money Affiliate World Conference in Europe. So that's a great prize. A bunch of us have attended their last show in Thailand, and it was awesome. We got to meet a lot of cool people. The speeches were fantastic. A lot of different networks and a lot of different partners and stuff in attendance. So we strongly encourage even the people that don't win the tickets today to check it out. So yeah, just want to jump into the agenda and explain a little bit more about what we're hoping to cover today. We want to start with highlighting a little bit about Go to Moby and showing you the platform, going over some of the cool features that we have, some tips and tricks for setting up your campaigns, and ultimately some best practices so that hopefully your campaigns will be successful. Then we want to dive into our reporting platform. That's a really, really powerful part of the Go to Moby system, and ultimately, what leads to a lot of the ROI and a lot of the profitability that many affiliates and advertisers see on the platform. So I want to spend a little bit of time there highlighting some of the key features on the reporting side. And then one thing that we're really excited to talk about is our campaign auto rules or automated optimization engine, which we call Go2D2. For those of you that have seen Star Wars, hopefully you get the pun. But anyways, that's a really cool feature because for anyone that's used the Moby platform, you know how granular and powerful our optimization and reporting side is. But also with that granularity sometimes comes, the potential for some manual work to be involved to kind of narrow a campaign down and optimize it to profitability and manage it. So we knew that it was really important that we built out some automation to our system and essentially give you guys, the advertisers and the affiliates, the tools to create custom optimizations and custom rules around your campaigns, and then have our system do the work, so that essentially you're not, you don't have to spend all this time on the campaign, especially when you're testing and there's just a whole bunch of traffic that you want to optimize away in the beginning. So we're going to spend a bit of time talking about that, and then at the end we're going to have hopefully time for some questions. So without further ado, I'm just going to jump right into the platform and we'll go from there. All right, so when you sign into the Moby interface, you're going to see this screen right here, which is essentially a list of all the campaigns that you've created, and you'll be able to go into any one of them and specify targeting, make optimizations, pause, activate, change the budget, change the bid, etc. So I'm just going to go into this this test campaign we have here, and I'm going to quickly run through a couple of the key features that I think will really help out your campaigns. So a couple quick things to note. As I mentioned, this is a performance marketing platform, so what we really recommend that everyone does is they track everything they can possibly track. If you're using a third-party tracking platform, we offer a long list of URL variables or macros for you to append to your URL or your destination link. And that way you can kind of analyze the data, and our system will pass your tracking platform all the insights about the particular impression or the click that happened, and hopefully you can use those insights to make optimizations. So if you are using a third-party tracking platform, we strongly encourage that you use as many macros or variables as possible. One thing we also support is conversion tracking. So within any of your campaign pages, you can click on this link. It'll open a box. This is your unique post backlink. There's instructions here to configure a couple of pieces that you'll need to customize to ensure that everything lines up with your own system. But from that point on, your postback will be configured to fire conversions and potentially revenue into our system. And basically what that means is that when you start to see conversions on your end through your affiliate network or through your advertiser's platform, you'll see those same conversions reflected in our system within the reporting platform, and you'll be able to drill down and see exactly where those conversions came from, and then ultimately make optimization decisions as a result to try and scale the profitable segments of traffic. So we strongly encourage that everyone uses conversion tracking if they have the ability to. A couple of features that I do want to highlight are right in this section here. So we've got the ability to frequency cap. For those of you that don't know, it's the ability to specify how many times a unique user sees your messaging per 24 hours. We typically recommend that you set this to 1, just so that you're reaching the broadest possible audience and you're not, hitting the same user multiple times within a 24-hour period with the same messaging. Session depth is another really cool feature. It kind of works hand in hand with frequency cap. Essentially, it allows you to specify which part of a user's browsing session your creative is shown, or your offer and messaging is presented to them. So right now, the setting, this is the default setting, minimum of 1, maximum of 10. What that means is that if you're frequency capped at 1, each user will be shown your creative once, and that time with which they see it will be one of the first 10 creatives that they see, or first 10 ads that they see. So essentially someone that's been playing a game for half an hour and they've seen a banner between every level, they're not going to be eligible to see your creative. And the theory is that potentially they're kind of they've seen enough ads that they're not as likely to respond to them. So we also recommend that you play around with session depth, and it will limit scale. Both of these features will limit scale in the beginning. So the theory is that you're going to want to open them up as you see your campaign come closer to profitability or you're looking to scale. But in the beginning, just because there's so much traffic and inventory available, we always recommend you use these features and kind of give the campaign the best foot forward, and then open it up as you scale your campaign. Another feature I wanted to talk about was the daily budget per placement. This is an awesome feature because it allows you to specify not only an overall campaign daily budget, but a particular dollar value that you don't want to exceed on a per publisher or per placement level. And so let's say you're working with an offer that pays the CPA of $1. You could specify this value to a couple times your CPA. In this case, I might very well specify $2, and then that way you're not spending all your budget on one or a few large placements that just have a lot of volume. And so it's these features all are kind of, they're most critical to test out during the testing phase when you're first running a run-of-network campaign, or a campaign that maybe you don't have a lot of data on and you just want to cast a broad net and you want to see what traffic's out there and how it's going to perform. You obviously you don't want to hit the same user over and over and over again. You don't want to hit users that have seen 20, 30, 50 ads before they see yours, and you don't want to spend all your test budget on a few large placements, because even if they do convert, you can't help but think that that's not an accurate representation of all the available inventory. So again, we always recommend that advertisers use all of these features when they're first testing a campaign, and play around with the settings. You'll notice that obviously they will limit scale, but hopefully they will help your campaign see success initially, and then you'll have good data to work off of afterwards. Couple last things that I want to highlight on the setup side of things. We do have an auto bidder, which basically I'll call it a bid optimizer for lack of a better way of saying it. Essentially what it does is it looks at factors like the creative type and creative size, the time of day, the publisher, publisher, placement, creative, device, carrier, and a bunch of other features, and essentially identifies what is a competitive CPM rate that it needs to bid to win about 30% of the inventory. And that number has kind of been defined as a good test sort of percentage of traffic. You don't want to win 100% of any one combination of all those things, because then you're probably overbidding, and at the same time you don't want to win 1% because you're probably underbidding, and it may be competitively priced because it's performing very well for advertisers, and you wouldn't want to miss out on that. So the auto bidder takes a bit of the guesswork out of the bidding side of things, but it can also ensure that you see a slice of all available inventory, and ultimately get the best data possible for your campaign. Now, of course, if you did want to bid a fixed CPM across the board, you can specify that within the standard bidding option right here. We have a daily budget feature, of course. We've got we've got a bunch of different exchanges to choose from. Kind of to explain a little bit more about what an exchange is, these are aggregators and groups of publishers that essentially offer access to anywhere from hundreds to tens of thousands of publishers within one exchange. So depending on what type of campaign you're looking to run, there may be certain exchanges that could perform better, or may have inventory that's more likely to work well with the type of campaign you have. So we've got an infographic here. We've also got some more information in our help section, which you can get to within this help tab at the top. So I won't spend too much time on exactly which exchange to use for what, but there's a bunch of different sources. Some of them have more in-app traffic, some of them have more mobile web traffic, some of them have video traffic, some of them have native traffic. So depending on the type of creative that you want to run, it may make sense to target, to highlight a few key exchanges to target, or when in doubt, you can always run an open campaign and target all exchanges and let the data kind of do the talking. We've also got full day parting, so hour of the day and day of the week. If there's specific times that your campaign, performs better, you can target those here. Also, if you have restrictions from your advertiser, you can specify certain hours to run or not run. We've got full geographic targeting, so anywhere from a country level all the way down to state or province, city, DMA, zip code, and full coordinates targeting. So you can actually specify a latitude and longitude coordinate and a radius around it, and then essentially fence just that area or target just that area encompassed within the circle. So that can be really good for more localized campaigns or very granular geographic targeting. We've got the ability for you to whitelist lists of IP addresses or single IP addresses. So if many of you may work in the mobile content vertical where you're relying on very tight carrier targeting for your campaigns to convert, this is a great feature to use, because if you have insight into what IP addresses are billable and work best for your advertiser, or you're able to reach out to your advertiser and get those lists, you can whitelist just those IPs, and then that way that ensures that your campaign's only bidding on impressions that hopefully will ultimately be billable for the campaign. So we've got full carrier targeting. You've got the ability to specify cellular versus Wi-Fi or both, and as well as just pick specific ISPs or carriers and whitelist or blacklist them here. You've got the ability to target just apps or mobile websites or both. You've got the full ability to specify certain placements. You can, depending on which exchanges you target, you can pick an exchange and then search for a particular keyword, and all the corresponding placements will come up, and you can search for specific ones that you want to include or exclude. We've also got some really cool features here coming up. The first being the ability to build remarketing lists. So one thing that's really critical for campaigns is that essentially every impression that you buy is data. So everything about media buying is about data, and it's about data collection and data analysis, and what do the numbers tell us, what does the data tell us, and then making sure that when your conversions start coming in and your clicks start coming in, that you're looking at what's generating those, and hopefully storing some information about the actual users that are doing the clicking and converting, so that you can present them with other offers down the road and maybe get them to, maybe they'll be more likely to convert a second time or interact with your messaging. So we have the ability to build remarketing lists at both the click level and the conversion level. So if you're firing us, you're using our post backlink and firing us conversions, then you're going to have conversion data within our reporting system and be able to add converters to your remarketing list. If not, obviously we still have full click tracking, so you're going to see where your clicks are coming from, and you'll be able to create a clickers remarketing list. So typically we recommend that you separate them, i.e. you're not putting clickers and converters in the same list, because obviously then there's no way to really tell them apart. But as you can see here, this is just a demo campaign, but depending on how you want to segment your data and how you want to use it in the future, you can create sort of more generic remarketing lists. In this case, this was a music campaign, so we've got music lovers here. You can add clickers or converters or both to that list. You can also add create specific lists to the offer, the advertiser, or however you choose to segment it, and add the corresponding clickers or converters or both. And then once you hit save, those will all be available within this list within every one of your campaigns for you to add to, or if you go down here, you can target them or blacklist them. So that's kind of cool, because what you can do is you can say everyone that's converted on this campaign already, blacklist them. So you can create a list here for the converters, and that means that all the time the converters are being added to the list, and then you can go down here, you can specify that converters list, and then you can say blacklist, and then that way every time someone converts on this campaign, you can blacklist them so that they don't keep seeing the same messaging when obviously they can't convert more than once. So that's a really cool feature. I'm just going to skip over this section for a second. This is a demo account, so this feature is still in its final stages of development, but essentially what we're soon going to allow advertisers to do is identify certain moments that they want to reach consumers. So let's say that you've identified that the best time of day or the best times to reach a consumer with, say, a mobile game advertisement is during their leisure time or during their commute. Well, you can create a commuting moment or sort of a leisure moment based on a bunch of different factors, which I won't go into too much detail on, and then you'll be able to target that and essentially say, I only want to reach users that are not at work or not at school. You know, they're doing things in leisure, they're traveling or they're doing whatever. So it's really cool to be able to, or you'll soon be able to highlight and target those users in a simple way. So that will hopefully further allow you to segment your campaigns and identify some high value users and times when those users are most responsive. This is the R2D2, or rather Go2D2, and this is a feature that we just released. It's absolutely awesome. We're getting great feedback from advertisers that have been testing it. This is our auto rules tool. It is essentially, it's the first step towards an auto optimizer or your campaign optimizing itself. Basically, what it allows you to do is it allows you to create a blacklist or whitelist rule on a variety of parameters. You can create multiple layers to it, multiple if statements, multiple and or statements, and identify your own optimizations that the system can make for you automatically. So basically, you just go over here, you press new, you name the rule, you specify the data to analyze. So this is essentially how far back in time should this tool look or should the system look before it makes any decisions. So if you say the last hour, it's going to look at the last 60 minutes of data and essentially identify have any of the carriers, devices, exchanges, or placements hit your threshold or your predefined rule, and if yes, then it's going to take the action that's down here. So I'm just going to go through this process and set up a sample rule here just to kind of illustrate how it all works. So I'm just going to call this test rule, and I'm going to say the last hour. I want to analyze the last hour. So you've got options between the last hour and the last 7 days. Typically, you're probably going to want to set these to the highest frequency possible, because obviously if your goal is to blacklist something once it has a few thousand impressions and no clicks, you want it to be scanning the data as frequently as possible and removing any corresponding placement OSs, et cetera, that have exceeded that without meeting the criteria. But we do have the ability, or you do have the ability, to specify up to the last 7 days. So if you have something that you want it to look at a longer sort of data set for, you can specify the last 7 days, the last 3 days, and so on, and it will look at that corresponding data set as opposed to just the last hour or the last couple hours. So in this case, I'm just going to say the last hour. I'm going to look at placements. So it's going to look at placements. I'm going to say if wins, so the impressions that it's won, are greater than, I'm going to say 5,000. So that essentially means if I've bought any more than 5,000 impressions, and let's see, and clicks are less than 5, then blacklist. So what I've done here is I've basically specified that if wins are greater than 5,000, so I've won more than 5,000 impressions, and clicks are less than 5, i.e. a very, very low click-through rate of 0.01%, I want that placement blacklisted. So it's just people aren't engaging with it. It could be for a variety of reasons, but I don't want to see that placement. So anytime that a placement pops up and it satisfies that criteria, it will be blacklisted. And then now at the bottom, I can specify how often this should run, or how often the system should create these rules. Again, I'm going to say every hour, because in the beginning, especially when you're testing, you're really going to want to eliminate anything that's not performing as quickly as possible, so that you get the best test data possible. So in this case, starting from the top, I've got a rule that looks at the last 60 minutes of data. It's looking at the placements. At all placements, for any that have won more than 5,000 impressions, had less than 5 clicks, and it's going to blacklist those. And it's going to sift through the data every hour to do that and create any rules for any new placements that pop up within 1 hour to the next. So I'm just going to press save. It has created that rule, and now it is on the list. So what we've also done here is we've created a bunch of sort of default rules that we kind of the data tells us makes the most sense for anyone who's not really sure where to start, or anyone that's just looking for a good sort of rule of thumb as far as the performance tools to use. So we've got a couple for carriers. We've got a poor carrier conversion rate, poor carrier click-through rate. We've got an overall placement blacklister that's probably very similar to the test rule I just set up. We've got poor device OS conversion rate, poor OS CTR, and then we've got exchange and placement rules as well. And then we've got a couple here that we created for stuff like tier 1 geos for sweepstakes. You know, we've kind of dug into the data. Also mobile content and utility campaigns. So it's cool. And for anyone that's not really sure how to start or where to start, there's a few predefined rules that will hopefully give you a good starting point or a good idea for maybe where to begin. And I'll kind of show you. I'm just going to pick this one. So poor exchange CTR. So essentially what I've got is that's now enabled. I just need to go here and press activate. And then now I've got a rule associated with my campaign. It's called poor exchange CTR for interstitials. So for any 320 by 480 creative that has over 20,000 impressions and a CTR of less than 0.8%, this rule is going to blacklist. It's going to look at the last 7 days of data, and it's going to create new rules every 7 days. So this is a good sort of blanket rule. It's not overly aggressive, but it's a great place to start for a new campaign for anyone that just wants to give their campaign a good chance for success. So I'm not going to spend too much more time on this because I do want to show you reporting, but this is a really powerful feature. It's completely customizable. Essentially, it takes the guesswork out of other systems or our system's previous sort of auto optimization functionality. It gives you the power to look at exactly what metrics you care about, and it gives you the ability to define what makes good performance, what makes bad performance, and then an easy to use interface where you can implement that. And then once you create the rule, you can save it and use it on any future campaigns. So that's great. There's an awesome Help Center article about this feature. Feel free to check it out. There's a video as well. So yeah, it's a great place to start for creating some optimization rules. Now, really quickly here, we've got full device targeting. You can specify phones, tablets, or both. Full creative targeting. Again, this corresponds to the new moment feature where we're going to give the ability to specify a certain creative for a certain moment. But right now, this campaign was just running standard 320 by 50 banners. You can adjust your weightings here. You can activate and pause them. You can upload new creatives. You can do video. You can do native. You can do static banners. And then this section here just illustrates all of the rules and overrides or bid adjustments that were created within the reporting panel. So kind of a change log, you can delete the rules here. There's a date stamp and corresponding parameters that are impacted. So as I mentioned, without spending any more time on the campaign side of things, I do want to spend 5 or 10 minutes on the reporting side of things. So this is the Moby reporting platform. I've highlighted the data sort of time frame where the data was active for this campaign. As you can see, there is the ability to drill into a campaign. There's an edit button and there's a status. You can activate, you can pause, you can change budget, and adjust your bid CPM and frequency cap within this window. You can also drill into your campaign and then look at any one or a combination of these parameters and completely customize which columns you see. So as you notice, every time I toggle one of these options on and off, the URL updates. It's a completely dynamic URL, so when you find a report that's meaningful to you, you can bookmark it and save it, and then that way you don't need to come in here and configure the report every time. So this is the drilled into the test campaign that we've got here. I'm just going to start by looking at placements, and I'm going to hit the refresh button. And what this report is going to show me is essentially all the different publishers and placements that this campaign ran on. There's conversion data in here, so you can see that there's a count of conversions. There is a corresponding revenue value tied to that. And what that gives me is the ability to sort by profit or by revenue or conversions or however I choose to look at the data. In this case, I am going to look at profit because I want to see what's most profitable and what's least profitable. So I'm going to start with what's least profitable just because that's typically where I would start if I was optimizing away some poor performing placements. So interestingly, this placement here, it looks like there was a significant amount of scale and spend, but it just wasn't profitable. So in some cases, what you're going to want to do is you're just going to want to blacklist the entire placement, or maybe the placement will be blacklisted by the auto rule that you created with your criteria. In this case, though, this placement clearly converted. It just wasn't overall profitable. So what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to drill into this placement and see what within that placement from a device and carrier standpoint, converted or more importantly didn't convert. So one thing I did want to highlight is that at any point along the way, you can take one or more of these actions. So got the thumbs up here for creating a whitelist. Essentially what this means is that within this campaign, you only want to target this placement or the whitelisted placements. In this case, we don't want to do that. But if you did have a few key placements that were generating most of your revenue, you could specify that you only want to target those placements. The corresponding thumbs down does the complete opposite, where it blacklists just that one placement. So if you didn't want to see this entire placement, you would just click that button, you would go add, and it would create a rule. And then there's also the corresponding $, which is essentially the bid adjustment. So you can look at your eCPM and you can create a corresponding CPM bid adjustment or adjust your bid so that it's in line with what you're making in the hopes that you can bid it down or bid it up to scale or increase your profitability. So as I mentioned, many times there are conversions, but it's just not profitable. So I want to drill into this placement and I want to see where those conversions were coming from. Cool. So I want to look at the carriers now. So within this one placement, within this campaign, there is hundreds or maybe thousands of carriers, 11,000 to be exact, and they are already sort of default sorted by the least profitable ones. So I'm just going to scan the list, and I see right here that this one caught my eye as having zero revenue and a significant spend. So at that point, I would be inclined to say, I want to block this carrier. I want to blacklist this carrier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here, and I can see that there's already been a couple test rules created. But basically, assuming that I hadn't made any optimizations, I would come over here and I would click on the thumbs down button. It's telling me that this carrier, this placement on this campaign, there's going to be a blacklist created for it. I press the add button, and then as you can see, that little tile lit up. It's telling me that there's a rule. This is telling me that there's a blacklist. I click on that, and I can see that this carrier and this placement were blacklisted. Today's date, there's the option to delete that rule right here. So I can just click that button, and it will reverse that blacklist. But I want to keep it, so there we are. And essentially, you just kind of go down the list. You look at anything of statistical significance. If you see, a certain carrier placement combination or whatever data you're looking into, you can make the corresponding optimizations and adjustments right from within this actions column. And then at any point, if you want to see what optimizations have been made and when they've been made, you can click on the corresponding O for override, which is the bid adjustments, or the R for rule, which is the blacklist and whitelist. And you can delete them from here. You can make further adjustments, or you can just take a look and look at optimizations that have been made. So The beauty of the system is that you can just keep drilling in. So if I wanted to drill into Comcast here and look at devices or look at creatives or look at anything else, I could do that here, and I could just keep drilling in, and I could keep making optimizations, and I could get as granular as I possibly wanted to. And so I'm sure it's becoming apparent that there's a lot of flexibility and a lot of power to really drill into your campaigns and ultimately fine-tune the targeting to just what's working. But as I kind of mentioned earlier, there's a lot of data here and a lot of corresponding optimizations that could be made. So that's why I keep going back to the auto rules feature as being an awesome place to essentially let our system do a lot of the heavy lifting for you. It's going to be able to create those rules in large amounts in the beginning and kind of get you to the point where hopefully you're break even or profitable, so that you can identify the segments of traffic that are performing really well for your campaign and then work to scale those. And the really cool thing about that feature as well is that it's still in development. The team is still working on it, and they're still they're creating sort of a V2 or a second version of that feature that's going to include the ability to create CPM bid adjustments. And so in the coming month or so, next month or so, we're going to be releasing the second sort of follow-up piece of that feature, which essentially will allow you to look at a campaign, look at a corresponding placement and carrier, device, or whatever else on a campaign, and look at the conversion rate or the eCPM or whatever metric you look at to gauge performance, and essentially make a CPM bid adjustment tied to those factors. So you'll be able to say, for example, if conversions equals over 5 and eCPM equals under this, adjust your CPM bid to a percentage or a fraction of your eCPM. So sounds a little bit technical. We'll have lots of documentation to go along with it, but it's basically going to allow your campaigns to kind of run themselves, or let the system run your campaigns for you and optimize away and hopefully get them profitable. So kind of at this point in the today's presentation, I want to kind of jump back into the slideshow, talk a little bit more about this concept that we're working to sort of present and flesh out, which is essentially personalized programmatic. And that's what we consider ourselves, is a personalized programmatic platform. Essentially what that concept means is that gone are the days where you go to an ad network or you go to a DSP or a traffic platform or publisher or whoever, and you just kind of, there's a specified CPM or CPC that you agree on, and you just, you evaluate the campaign, and it's either profitable or it's not. It's the beauty of RTB and ad networks such as us that are also DSPs, is that we have full transparency, and we're showing you exactly what you're buying, we're showing you exactly what you're paying for it, and you're able to make bid adjustments, down to the penny, a single cent incremental bid adjustments. You're able to blacklist everything that you don't want. You're able to whitelist and scale and bid up everything that you do want. And so essentially it gives you the granularity to be able to pay what each impression is worth to you relative to the performance of your campaign. So you're not just saying, I want to pay, $1 CPM for this entire campaign, or, I want to run on these 100,000 placements and I can't block any of them, or I want to, you're not just shotgun approaching a campaign where you can't make adjustments and you can't tailor your targeting to what's working for your campaign. And it's just, this concept is so key to performance marketing, because it's always about looking at the data, what's the data telling us, and then finding more of the inventory that's backing out and providing your campaign with a positive return on investment. So that's really a concept that we want to hammer home, and that's what kind of Moby's sort of mantra has always been. It is giving you the tools that you need to personalize your media buying experience. So that's why with the sort of automated optimization tools that we have, it wasn't just like a checkbox, and it wasn't just a let your system do the work for me. We strongly believe in offering some education, and then offering our advertisers the flexibility to kind of define what works for them and media buy the way that they want to media buy, or the way that they believe to be the best. So that's awesome. We're really excited to present sort of that first feature and the first look into our personalized programmatic platform. Some of you may have noticed that we've done a fairly recent rebrand. We're really excited with the new logo and the new design and the new sort of company image, and we're going to be at a lot of upcoming trade shows. We're going to be at the Stack That Money Affiliate World Europe Conference. We really encourage everyone to come by our booth and say hi. We'll be a sponsoring partner again, and we're really excited to see everyone on the platform, to see everyone testing out the features, to see everyone, hear everyone's feedback, and hopefully collectively as a performance marketing community, giving us the insights that we need to build onto our platform and make it as powerful as it possibly can be. So at this point in time, I just want to say thank you we just want to say thank you to everyone for joining us. We have a few minutes left for questions. I'm just going to dive into those. I know that we had a lot of attendees, and I'm sure there's lots of questions. So we're really excited to see all you guys on the platform and work closely with you and help you scale your campaigns. So just taking a look at the first question here. Let's take a look here. Okay, so our first question is to do with targeting, and the advertiser said, do you plan to make targeting available for targeting males and females, or interest-based targeting or other demographic targeting? So that's a great question. That is obviously a pretty critical component on the targeting side of a campaign. Even on the performance side of things, there are going to be offers that perform better with males, better with females, better with certain age groups or interest groups. The answer to that is yes, we absolutely are going to offer that. We actually have a lot of that functionality already built on the back end, and that is one of the major pushes for us to kind of go along with the moment targeting that I highlighted. So it's kind of all about targeting the right consumer at the right time, and when they're most receptive to the messaging, whether that is someone working, whether that's someone commuting, whether that's someone traveling, etc. And then to go along with that, obviously targeting the right consumer period, which is whether that's male, female, old, young, anywhere in between, certain interest groups, not certain interest groups. So yes, to answer that question, we absolutely are going to be offering that targeting. Let's take a look here. So next question is, so it looks like we got some pretty experienced media buyers on here. There's some great questions. So we got feedback, and they said that they like the feature for daily budget per placement, and it's a real time saver. And they are asking about another feature for maximum spend by creative. So essentially a banner auto optimizer based on conversion rate. And the answer to that is yes. That's actually being spec'd out as part of the next iteration of our auto rules feature. So essentially it will include the creatives or banner parameter, and you'll be able to specify things like number of conversions or conversion rate, and then adjust the weighting and even activate or pause specific banners. So that's a great question. That's essentially, we want all the features that are available within the optimization side of the reporting panel to be available within the auto rules feature in the second version. So we're very excited to release that, and we really feel like it's going to be a strong feature for the platform. So let's take a look here. Okay, so there's a question here. I want to know the best way to receive high volumes of traffic on successful campaigns. So that's, again, another good question. Obviously, with the power of the system, sometimes there are it's easy to make rules, or it's possible to make rules and optimizations that may impact the scale of your campaign. Meaning that if you turn off all the large placements, or you turn off all the large devices or whatever, the scale of your campaign could be severely limited. So I guess I'll start by saying each case is unique. Each, obviously there is a limit to the amount of impressions that are available on the platform. Having said that, we process something like 1 trillion impressions a month across all the different geos and devices and publishers, etc. So there's tons of scale in any country, any carrier, any combination that you're looking for. If you're looking for maximum scale, we recommend that you keep the campaign open as broad as possible. As I mentioned, the frequency cap, the session depth, and the daily budget per placement features are can be critical to the success of a campaign from a performance standpoint. But if you're just looking for maximum scale, or it's performing really well and you just want maximum scale for the current targeting, removing some of those features or really opening them up can help you scale your campaign significantly a lot of the time. So as always, we recommend that you just, if you're looking for more volume with your existing campaign and you're seeing success and you want more of it, just open up as many settings as you possibly can, and you'll ultimately get some, hopefully the maximum amount of traffic possible. So I'm just taking a look at the questions here. I think I got most of them. Let's take a look here. Let's see. We've got someone asking about, do you plan to integrate with any new SSPs? Yeah, so we've got a couple SSPs that are, or exchanges, we're just finalizing the integrations with, and they will be released to the public very, very shortly. The first one is Exonix, and the second one is Rhythm One, and the third one is Spot Exchange. So Exonix, I think it actually might already be released. Exonix is a great exchange. They're very large. They're one of our bigger partners. They are awesome for performance campaigns. We got a lot of feedback from advertisers that were looking for us to get that traffic, and we listened, and we're excited to have completed that process and now be able to offer them on the platform. The same thing with Rhythm One or Rhythm Exchange. They are another large partner. They have a lot of great inventory for mobile content and CPA, CPI, app style, and game campaigns, and they're very, very sought after in the performance space. So we're excited to be able to offer that inventory. And then Spot Exchange is a purely video, mobile video source. So with Spot Exchange on board, we have massively increased the amount of video inventory that we have, and they have a lot of pre-roll inventory and a ton of different video ad units and video publishers for you to access. So video is becoming more and more popular. It's been popular for a while in the brand space, but it is becoming more and more popular in the performance space because it can lead to, sometimes it leads to much higher sort of quality for the advertisers. And when I say that, I mean a user that watches a 30-second video and engages with the video to a great extent, it can often be ultimately a more valuable user, let's say, to an advertiser than someone who is just kind of pushed blindly to a game page and they download it and they're not really sure what they're downloading. So video as a standalone strategy is, it's still kind of up in the air, but testing a video creative alongside your normal banners can open you up to a lot more publishers and may provide you with great quality installs and great quality users that your advertisers will pay you a lot for. So that's a great question. Okay, so I'm just taking a look here. I think we've gotten all the questions. Yeah, so we've it looks like I'm kind of getting the finger here that we're running out of time. So unfortunately, I need to stop the question and answer period there. But I just want to again emphasize that we're really excited to have everyone here. This was one of our most attended webinars to date. Once again, thank you to Stack That Money and specifically their affiliate mastery challenge. For letting us be a part of it. We're one of the networks that people will be testing campaigns and kind of learning the ropes on for display. And we're really excited to attend the Affiliate World Conference in Europe. And we're also really excited to be drawing a name for a lucky person to win 2 tickets. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw that pretty much right away when we're done here, and then within the next 24 hours we're going to notify the winner via email, and we're also going to make a public post on Stack That Money. So at this point in time, we just want to say thanks for joining us. We're really excited to have all of you on board the platform. We're really excited to get rolling with the AMC. And yeah, we hope to see as many of you as possible at the Affiliate World Europe Conference. So thanks again, everyone, and we will talk to you soon.